Hi, you're watching a very special session of Agenda Awani right here at the World Economic Forum, or as they like to call it here, WEF 2019 in Davos. And it always gives me great pleasure. You know, you feel like a tiny ant walking around the Congress Center. That's the hub of World Economic Forum. But when you look at a giant in front of you, it is from Malaysia, and that giant is no other but Dato Sri Vijay Eswaran of the QI Group. And the last time I spoke to you was at the World Economic Forum ASEAN in Cambodia,
Yes.
2 years ago.
That's
So
correct.
we have a lot of things to catch up. I also want to hear your views on what happened in Malaysia in May 9, because we've talked about many things about Malaysia before too. But I have to ask you about WEF this year first, because it started with Madame Lagarde, always Madame Lagarde starting it for 2 years running that I have witnessed, revising down world's growth, which means also world's jobs and world's income and stuff like that. So, but after Madame Lagarde said that, there's been many other sessions, and I'm sure you've participated in many, and what have been Davos 2019 for you so far? Because the team is supposed to look at globalization 4.0 and a new architecture for the world. My short, simplistic translation is, we've been disrupted, but many of our structures globally are still the 20th century one.
Very much so.
How is it for you?
Very much so. So let me begin by, saying that Madame Lagarde, with due respect to the position she holds and the information and data she has gathered, I do agree with her, however, that there is going to be a downturn. But at the same time, I would like to contend that a lot of the issues or the data that has been gathered is not anymore at the same pace or the same depth as it used to be.
Okay.
Today, one of the catchphrases is gig economy, and I happen to have spoken about that just the day before yesterday.
Okay.
And the gig economy has taken on a major role, even in our part of the world, but primarily so in the first world. In the emerging markets, it is actually the fastest growing area of growth. Now, because of the gig economy, you really cannot see the employment the way you used to.
Correct.
Because gig economy essentially, to define it, is people who are doing jobs in between.
Yeah.
A gig, meaning a contract position, in other words. So Uber drivers, for instance, example, Grab drivers, and a whole range of Airbnb people who involve in businesses of one kind or another. They are all gig. And they don't turn up on any economic markers. And therefore, if there is unemployment ratio of some kind, then the gig factor does not come into play anymore. So at the same time, let's take into account the millennials.
Yes.
Now, this is interesting because the millennials have changed the way that we have to perceive work. The future of work is going to be defined by the millennials. Millennials don't look for the same things we do, or we did in our generation, or at least definitely in mine. They're not interested in getting a car, is one of the first things that we thought about in our time, or a house, or security, or things of this nature. Insurance, for instance, the last thing on your mind. So, the industry itself is being disrupted by having to create products for the millennials.
Yeah.
Having said that, millennials are looking to travel. They're looking for a short-term employment. They're looking for things that excite them. They're looking to be motivated. And a lot of these things are not really commonplace in employers in Malaysia and elsewhere in the world. So there is a phase of adjustment that's happening right now. All this will blur the lines. But having said that, I do agree with Madame Lagarde with the current US-China tariff war in place, and compounding that, a number of other issues. China's slowdown, for instance, has resulted in the potential of an economic downturn. happening over the next year or two.
What would that mean for Malaysia? I know you're all over the world now practically, but I know that deep down here you still look back at Malaysia all the time.
All the time. Anak-anak.
Yes.
So, okay, so the bad news is essentially Malaysia is not going to be unaffected. Inevitably, because of the fact that we are more of a global village now than we have ever been. Clearly, Malaysia will also feel the effects of this. The good news, because of the current US-China tariff war and things of that nature, the reality is that ASEAN has benefited. And if ASEAN actually sticks together, ASEAN is going to be the platform by which we will be able to not just survive, but thrive during this economic downturn. ASEAN by itself is an amazing geographical anomaly. If you look at the growth of ASEAN over the last 30 odd years, 600 million people today, maybe 7, and the fastest growing middle class in the world.